So as you put pressure on a vertebrae, that can mean impingement on joints and nerves. It can also mean restriction of movement. For example, I can turn one way and I can hardly turn that way, which means if I turn to get in a car and I'm looking behind me, massive problem, because I've then got to shift my whole body to be able to look behind me. This can also have fusing of vertebrae linked to it. So that's where two vertebrae get locked in. And I can tell you now, to have these broken off is very uncomfortable and takes a lot of time with a chiropractor. But if you don't have joints that move, it becomes you basically under constant pain and discomfort. And imagine it, you sit down, it's uncomfortable. You lie down, it's uncomfortable. You try from lying to get to sitting, you can't move. That's what it's like when the flat back is in the worst state. Okay? So it affects your whole life, basically. And with any of these as well, bear in mind there are varying levels. So you could have a slight lordotic spine and it not really affect your day-to-day life. However, you need to do certain stretches and mobility work. Or it can be quite severe, something you need to take painkillers for, and obviously affects everything. The sixth one is scoliosis. So this is the side twist. So generally more dominant where you can see your shoulder one way or the other. It also affects like the hips and the pelvis. However, imagine your spine's like this. All your organs are going to be shifted. So they rate this in terms of percentage, and the percentage is based upon your range of movement. And of course, the bigger the curve, the bigger the percentage you have. And of course, the bigger the percentage you have, you're going to have obviously some very, very tight muscles, very, very weak muscles, which could cause pain and discomfort. You also, your ability to carry things, because the pressure is straight down that vertebrae. If you carry anything on your back and you've got a massive curve, the likelihood is you could push one of those discs out, which puts you at more risk. So you need to do a lot of strengthening work to balance and support that spine. Otherwise, anything you do becomes obviously a lot harder and you're at greater risk of causing long-term and serious damage. So the big one for now is the seated position. So when we sit in a standing position or sit in a seated position, we still need to have what we call a neutral spine. So of course, I know this will be something that's big on the list, but sitting in a neutral position is important to a lot of businesses, and some will even ask you to do, I don't know if you've ever done them, the specific induction training to say, I sit with the desk at this height, I know the screen's at this level, you know, so you sit in a neutral position. Okay. However, this is where we can sort of develop postural issues and actually decrease our well-being, which is why sitting for a long period of time over a desk, unless we take those breaks, we actually cause ourselves postural problems, which then in fact low energy, we get more headaches, we feel stressed, you know, we lose appetite, you know, might feel a bit sick, you know, we're compressing our organs. You know, particularly if you look at E at the bottom, if we're sitting like that over a computer, which many of us will be, then of course all we're doing is compressing down our internal organs, curving our spine, and actually by the end of it, your neck's hurting, so you're probably doing this. You know, so you try and support the weight of your head, which again is then exacerbating the chin position, weakening neck muscles, causing tight neck muscles at the back, headaches, stiff shoulders, you know, feeling lethargic. When you go sit down later, you're like, my eyes hurt, I don't want to watch anything. So it affects everything you do. And this is obviously where we're at now, because a lot of people are seated rather than standing. This is why we need to take care of how we sit, so that we actually take care of our spine, so our actual overall well-being. And I know the big one is people are asking me, and I know it appeared on one of the questions, was how long should I sit for? What's a good position to be in? Do I need to be moving? And people keep saying, get a desk, get a standing desk, sit like this. There's no right or wrong. you shouldn't be standing for X amount of time, you shouldn't be seated for X amount of time. What you shouldn't be doing is doing one excessively. So the sort of guidelines is that in every sort of hour, you have at least, if say you're at a desk job, within every hour, you should have at least 15 minutes where you're out of your seat, you're moving. The obviously recommendations are screen breaks sort of every 20 to 30 minutes. So you get moving. So within that, you can probably say every half an hour, if you got up and had sort of a 7-8 minute break where you sort of move into some gentle stretching, get yourself a coffee, go for a little walk, you're actually doing your posture some good and actually doing your health some good. It also as well, it affects your concentration, which is what you want, especially if you're working, you're studying, you're doing something, you want to be able to concentrate and stay productive and stay where you want to be. So they're the end of my little pictures.